Okay, so let's start with the webinar now. We are super excited to have you for our first webinar on white label chatbots. And let me quickly introduce myself. I am Shivani, marketing executive here at WotNot. And with us, we have Hardik Mataria, co-founder of WotNot. And he'll be conducting today's really interesting webinar on how white label chatbots can prove to be a game changer for agencies. But before we begin, let me quickly give you a recap of what all we'll be covering in this webinar. Okay, so first we'll be talking about white label, like an overview, what is it, and how to go about it. Next, we have the money making equation. We'll tell you how you can earn money. So it will be like a basic equation which you can copy and earn some money. Next is build versus buy, why you should go for buying or building. Will go through the advantages and disadvantages and then come to a decision. Next, we have winning strategy to sell white label chatbots. We'll also be sharing with you guys a GTM, like a cheat sheet for you guys, which you can copy. Next is real life success stories. We have a couple of stories of our customers to share with you guys. And then WotNot Partnerships. We have a couple of partnerships to offer you guys. You can decide and select which one to go for. And then we'll be ending the webinar with an interactive Q&A. You can put in your questions in the comment section and we'll get back to you. And now I'd like Hardik to take over the webinar. So Hardik.
Hey Shivani, hope you can hear me all right.
Yeah, you're audible.
Awesome. All right, a very good evening to everyone that's joining us today. Really excited to walk you through our first webinar on white label. I believe with that being said, let's quickly get started by just telling everyone about what chatbots are, if in case everyone is not familiar with it. So to start with, what are chatbots? I'm sure everyone is quite familiar and everyone has seen something like this popping around on our website. So basically, it's just a sequence of communication messages that have been predefined on a flow like this. And you can use interactive chat elements like buttons, input boxes, calendars, etc., to try and simulate a conversation of a regular human being. And you can build this in several channels. So usually you find bots on websites, WhatsApps, SMS numbers, and nowadays even on Instagram. So that's about chatbots, in case some of you are not aware.
So Hardik, wouldn't you agree that since the chat GPT boom, chatbots have become like a trend and a lot of people are switching to chatbots when it comes to lead generation or customer support or literally any other use case?
Absolutely. You're absolutely right, Shivani. I think predominantly everyone used to know about chatbots as a lead generation tool or a customer support tool, but now with ChatGPT, everyone has a lot of ways in which they are, tinkering around and using it. All right, and I believe we have summarized a lot of different use cases that you could use it for. So in case you're short on ideas or you need some more thoughts on it, we do have a use case page where we have jotted down and shown all the repositories of various ways you can use it. So check out that URL and you'll have a ton of different ways you could use it for, and probably even ideas to pitch your prospects or clients with. All right. That being said, let's get on to the topic itself on white label. So quickly, before I tell everyone what white label is, how many out here are do know about white label? Shivani, if you could run that poll. Have you run the poll, Shivani?
Yeah, we have.
Awesome. All right. So looks like quite a few of you know about white label. That's great. So to those of you, again, just to summarize, if you're not aware of white label, it's basically you're buying software or a product that is built by another company, putting on your own branding, your own logos, and selling it to either the same sort of audiences or to your own audiences. By putting your markup on top of it. So very simple. I'm sure you may have also gone through a lot of products that have been white labeled. You may not know about it, but they have been. A quick example from the tech space here would be Android. Now, every one of us know that Android is owned by Google, but every OEM or phone manufacturer like Samsung, OnePlus, etc., all run their own versions of Android, right? So these are all white label versions of Android with their own feature sets. They have been customized or tweaked in such a way to make it look like their own proprietary software. They even give it their own names, fancy names, and make it look like something which is specific to their product or their brand. And not so technically, you will also find a lot of real world products like jeans. Let's say a pair of jeans which could be rebranded as your company name or with a different brand. They could be sourced from Levi's or any other leading brands out there to just market and make some money. Yeah, so that's a little bit about white label. Now that we're all on the same page, let's look at why one should go and white label the product itself. And the answer to this is quite simple. Everyone wants to make money, right? And that's pretty much why everyone would want to white label in 2023. And now with ChatGPT and the rise in the chatbot space itself, there's a lot of money that is to be made in the space because not a lot of websites out there have a chatbot these days. And you just need more creativity and more use cases that you could pitch these clients to bring them on board. Now that being said, just to give you a very small equation, we have this money making equation here that will summarize how you could white label and how it would help you. So this whole equation consists of just 3 parts. The first is contacts, because to sell something, you need to know who you would want to sell it to, right? So ideally having a list of people that you may have interacted in the past, or people who have affinity towards buying something that would be valuable to them, could be something that helps solve a simple problem for them on a daily basis, would be really ideal. So contacts is number one. Number two is you need to give them something desirable, right? You need to have something which helps solve their problem. This could be a technology product or could be a physical product, something that they would want to buy. And when you combine both of these things, people who are looking to buy and something that they could buy, that's where money is to be made. Right? To give you a very simple example here, think of coffee. Everyone drinks coffee on a daily basis, and if you want to start your own business in the coffee space, you could just buy a roasted coffee from a third-party provider, let's say Starbucks or someone else. You could create your own packaging line, start selling it to other people, or create your own cafe and put your own menu out there. That's a really simple example of how you could get started with a white label like that, right? And that brings me to the next point on how you could get started with white label. So generally, there are 2 ways in which people would get started in a new product space. If you take an example of chatbots, like there are 2 ways you could start selling chatbots, right? Either number one, you would build your own platform, or number 2 is you would buy something which is already out there. And that's exactly what this webinar is for, right? We want to learn how you could buy a white label from a company and use it to your own needs and generate revenue for your firm in 2023. So before we go on to tell you more about the white label space itself, I just want to tell you why building from scratch is not an ideal way of doing it. Right? First and foremost is the high investment. You need to spend a lot of money to build something, right? And if you're talking about technology costs a lot of money these days, especially with the rise of employment costs with engineers, and you need a lot of them to build something which is meaningful. That's number one. And number 2 is high risk, because this is something you have never done in the past. Obviously, you're putting your own thoughts and ideas to work. Some things may work, some things may not, but it's pretty much still a very high risk game for the business since you're spending a lot of money there. And lastly is resources. Now, time and money is nothing if you don't have resources to spend it with, right? Like you need a lot of people, like I said, not just in the product space to build the product, but also in marketing, sales, support, etc. So all this time, money, resources will be spent in building something from scratch, which you could ideally save by getting a white label, right? So let's look at the 3 points why white label would be a smart choice for you as an agency or someone who's looking to start a new firm in the chatbot space. First, obviously, this when you buy something, it's already tried and tested, so you don't need to do that from scratch because the person that you're buying it from or the company you're buying it from, they have already been in this space selling it for years, and they have already implemented a lot of feedback that their customers have put through. That's really helpful. Number two is there's a really low amount of investment that you need to put in because you're not building it from scratch. The company that you're buying it from, they're merely just creating a clone of themselves and putting your logo, your brand name out there. So it saves you, on a lot of money that you would otherwise be spending in setting it from scratch. And since there is low investment involved, you would get high returns for whatever you put in. So let's say if you put in $10,000, chances are that you would recover that investment a lot sooner and get into the profit region a lot quicker, since you're just buying it from someone and it has already most of the things you would need to sell it out there. And the last point is time to market. Now, in 2023, especially in technology, you have thousands of platforms out there, each with its own pros and cons, and the competition is quite endless, literally. So it's all about what kind of people are you in touch with, what kind of problems are they facing, and do you have what it takes in terms of your platform or the white label to cater to these needs? And that's exactly why buying would make sense, because you're already getting all that for a fraction of the time, right? Now, before we go on forward, just want to summarize what we learned so far. We learned what is white label, which is just branding something which someone else is already selling with your name. We learned about the money making equation, which is contacts plus the white label equal to revenue. And we learned about the two different ways someone could launch a new product out there, right? You would either build from scratch or you would buy a white label that someone is already offering. Now, in the next slides, I just like to show you our cheat sheet, like something that we've been doing or I've been doing for the past few years now to generate more money with our product, which is WotNot. Now, as you all know, like WotNot is a chatbot platform, right? And a significant part of our revenue does come in through white label sources, because a lot of our partners out there in the world already have the contacts and the connections it takes they need to start selling it out there. And I'll be walking you through this very quickly, 4-step process in which most of our partners and we have been using over the past few years. So it starts with segmenting, where you would segment your contacts. The next step goes to outreach. You would win your confidence once you have outreach to your contacts, and then you would onboard and sell to your audiences. So we'll go through each of these steps one by one. I'll also share with you a few examples of how you would be catering to each steps, so it will be more relatable with you guys. And obviously in the Q&A, you could feel free to reach out and ask some more questions there. Right, so starting with the first step, which is segmenting. Now, when you start selling anything, the first thing that's very important, like we saw in the equation in the previous slide, is contacts, right? You need to know who are you going to reach out to and whether it makes sense for them or not. So first step in your go-to-market strategy with a white label product is you need to segment down all these people that you know. So it could be a potential list of people that you worked with previously with some other software or with other services. Could be your existing clientele that you're already working with, or could be just new contacts that you hunted down through let's say ZoomInfo or any other tool out there, right? So list down all these people or potential prospects that you could potentially reach out to. Write down some attributes about these people. What these attributes should be generally, if you're white labeling a chatbot product, is use case. What kind of problem would they be looking out to solve? Like, could be lead generation, could be customer support, could be just improving the customer experience on their side. So that's number one. Number two is traffic, because chatbots would mimic the conversation of a human being, right? With people coming to your site. So the more people coming to your site would mean more people the bot is speaking with. And this in turn would mean more conversions if you're talking purely from a lead generation standpoint. So try to list down what kind of traffic, like is it really high, is it really low, less than 10,000, 10 to 50, whatever works for you. So every industry has their own set of challenges and pain points. So that probably would really help you in combining what the use case is and in which space are they at. So once you onboard like one or two clients, it'll be easy for you to go after the same space, right? So if you close down a client in the manufacturing space, it only makes sense to reach out to other contacts that you already have in the list who are in the manufacturing space, because you could just point down and say that, hey, these guys have been using it, and this is the difference it brought, and it would be easier for you to sell for that new company. And lastly is the business priority. Like how important is that pain point to their business, or how much value would that solution bring about for that business? I mean, these are just a few characteristics or points that you would try to jot down with every prospect, but I'm sure you would think of more points than this. Right? Ultimately, helps you summarize which kind of contacts have a relatability with each other, and that helps you segment down the contacts in the right way. And doing all this, the main objective for us is to create a specific category of or segment them into different chunks or categories. An example, if you want to sell chatbots to your audiences, is the types of agencies that you would want to reach out to, right? At least for us, if you want to sell white label to our customers, the kind of people we would be looking at are, let's say web agencies, people who already directly control, your customers' websites, because it's easy for them to sell it to their audiences. Second is, digital marketing agencies. These companies also have a very big say in what goes with the marketing efforts with that organization. And there may be many more, right? But as an example, this is how you would try and understand what kind of contacts you have in your repository, what kind of characteristics you should be looking for, and how you should segment them down into different buckets. Now, moving on from segmenting, once you have a list of contacts in place, you know what kind of people they have, what kind of use cases you could reach out to them for. The next step is you need to try and reach out to these people. Right? It could either be through a personalized email campaign, use a tool like Gmail or Lemlist, tools like this. Send different email campaigns to each segments that you created. So if it's a web agency, it is a different segment. If it's people that you're reaching out to for lead generation, it's a different template. But just try to define like a sequence of 4 or 5 emails with calling in between, or connection requests of LinkedIn in between, and try and reach out to them. That's the more formal way of doing it. The more informal way is you could try and reach out to them on WhatsApp or LinkedIn messages if you already have that connection with them. It could be as simple as just wanted to check in, how's things going with your work. We have something really cool that I wanted to talk to you about. So use messages like this, and be more creative. Start using ChatGPT. I'm sure it will give you a lot more ways in which you could proactively reach out to these people. And we do that quite often, and you'd be surprised with the different ways in which ChatGPT would give you prompts on starting these dialogues with your prospects.
It
But
definitely
ultimately,
saves a lot of time too.
Absolutely, yeah. And you don't need to be creative. You just need to be smart enough to type what kind of prompts you expect to get from ChatGPT. But ultimately, the whole purpose of outreach is just to get in touch with the audience so that you have just defined. Plan the idea or the thought of automating chats, maybe not directly, but try and reason out with them, like, is lead generation core objective for you guys in this portal. It could be as simple as that. Like, try asking these questions indirectly, because that's when you would get to know how serious are they, and how much of an impact the bot could bring to these people, to these companies that you reach out to. Right. Once you do that, obviously you would be in front of them. You would either get on a call, you would book a meeting, something of that nature, and you would try to win their confidence. Right. At this stage, we have planted that thought of white label, of selling chatbots to them. And our goal here now is to win their confidence. Now that we know what they are interested in, what kind of pain points that bot could solve, now it's all about just proving that point. Right? And the only way you could prove it is by either building and showcasing a solution out there. It could be like a small demo that you already made, which has that use case in mind, or it could be a free trial. So maybe for larger companies that don't buy the thought of just a demo, you could just build something for them, really personalized, make it live for their website, get to know what their success metric is, and try hitting it. To tell you guys a recent example, like we had a lead that just came in a few weeks back, and they quite skeptical when they reached out and spoke with us. They didn't believe that the bot could generate X amount of leads for them when we gave them a percentage. So what we did to win them over is we told them, let's do that point out to you guys. So we built a POC from scratch. We made it live on their websites, and we hit that number in under 1 week. So they expected that number to be hit in the whole month, but we were able to bring that number out in just 1 week with the bot that we built. I mean, like this, just try to hit defined targets and try to hit these targets by creating proof of concepts. And since you would already have the white label, you could create free trial demo accounts for these prospects and make it live there. So at the end of this whole MVP or POC, be it 1 week, 2 weeks, or a month, you could reach out to them with a report saying that, hey, this is what your expectations were, this is what the bot could deliver, and this would have happened. This is what would have happened if it didn't have a bot. Right? You would have not had that chance of getting these many leads, which are valued to about $500,000 in revenue, or whatever that number may be. And that's when they would really get that idea in their heads, and they would realize the importance of having bots there. Right. So that's what happens here. And lastly, once you have proved that this is something that's possible, or at least you have shown them something quite similar to it, your final job is just to sell the deal, right? Just throw a number that works out for them. It could be based on the ROI that the bot is bringing, and try setting their bots up for success. Try pitching in your services for changing the chatbot flow as part of the arrangement that you would have with them, and just pitch more ideas to them, because you have currently won the deal with one use case in mind, but there are a lot of other things that the company is looking to automate, right? And that's exactly what you can pitch in your upcoming meetings, like either having a bot for customer support, could be a candidate screening board for their HR team. The more you know or understand the organization, the better ideas you would be able to pitch, and try and gain more confidence from not just that department, but other departments within that organization. Right. So that being said, let's move on to the next segment. Here, we'd like to show you a few case success stories of some of our partners that had white labeled WotNot. I'm sure this would be a lot more valuable, because these are not theoretical numbers, but actual practical numbers that our partners have been able to achieve over the few years that they've started using us. Right, I have different segments of customers, so I believe we would be covering everyone that's in this meeting right now. So starting off with a solopreneur. So by the way, like we've masked down all the names here, because these are white label partners, and obviously they're white labeled us for a reason. They don't want others to know that they're using us. So we've just given dummy names here. So just keep that in mind. This individual called John Doe was a solopreneur. He was based in the Sweden region. He had past experiences in the sales and the marketing space. He was selling some other products and solutions to his customers, and he wanted to jump into the chatbot space because of the boom that was going around because of ChatGPT and 2023 children, where things are going more digital. So like I showed in my previous case, that's what he did. He listed down all the people that he had reached out to, because he had a huge list since he was in sales. He offered most of the first initial few people that he reached out to with a free trial, and he won over a lot of clients doing this. He sold each subscription at an average MRR of about $200 a month, which is quite a lot. And right now, like it's been almost a year since we onboarded that partner, and he has almost 34 clients that he is currently serving, and he keeps adding 3 more clients every month. So in terms of numbers, you see the result. He's getting $7,800 each month just by white labeling a product. His expenses, not even half of that. So over a period of a year, now you will see the impact that a new product line or a new service line would have brought. And since this person was an individual, the return that the product or the white label product offered was quite significant. And I'm sure, like solopreneurs like yourselves, if you have a lot of contacts, this could be an ideal way for you to get started. Uh, Next, we have a web agency. So this was a website agency that used to design, build, and manage websites for their clients in the region that they operated in. And these guys were based in Europe. They had like a sizable team of about 50 people, so which is quite good. So in their case, they knew that they wanted to vertically integrate their solution, right? Because they already managed the website, so it was quite easy for them to reach out to the client and say that, hey, we have a new plugin which could help you generate more leads. You just need to pay X dollars a month, and that's it. So they had a very easy in because these were existing clients that they were reaching out to. So what they did is their salespeople would just upsell the clients with whatever the use case or the pain point each client was looking to solve. And their team had already built pre-created templates, so they didn't need to build things from scratch. Rather, just make a few changes on those templates, and they were able to make the post live very quickly. And because of this reason that they had templates and they already had this existing client base, they were able to monetize the solution quite quickly. So in just under 1 quarter, they were able to bring in almost 51 clients, and with an MRR of about $10,000 a month. So it's quite a significant number, and it's just been 1 quarter for them. So I'm sure the other 3 quarters would be even more than this. Ultimately, not just for them, but even for their clients, they were able to get more leads, because so far they were just giving a website, and the ultimate job of lead generation was on the customer. But now they vertically integrated, so they were also responsible for generating leads for the value add that they were offering, and the client was getting 20% more leads for it. So this just enabled and gained them a lot of trust from their clients, and just a lot more scope to sell newer things for them. Right, so that's that. And lastly, we have a marketing agency. So this agency was a full service firm. They used to do SEO, marketing campaigns, PR campaigns, advertisements, a lot of these things for enterprise clients in the US. Now these enterprise clients were quite big, mind you, like $1 billion plus firms. So for them, what mattered was not use cases, but rather bringing in the new angle that works out for the kind of audiences that they were selling products to. Specifically, if I were to just give you an example of one of their clients, it was an alcohol beverage company, and they wanted to. The alcohol beverage company wanted to run a campaign for Valentine's Day. Obviously, in Valentine's Day, you would most likely reach out to millennials, right? That was the target audience for the firm. And what this company did is they tried to bring a conversational experience angle to all these prospective people that were reaching out, that the company was reaching out via advertisements, as well as people who were coming on the website. So what they did is Taylor built a solution. Now, what the solution was is they placed QR codes within their stores. So they had about 150 stores all across the US, and they placed these QR codes at the different parts of the counters. And the ultimate goal was that people would walk in, they would scan this QR code to get recommendations on what kind of wine would work best on this Valentine's Day occasion. The same thing would happen digitally as well. When people would come to their landing page, you would have a QR code there which people would scan and get to know more about get the bot to recommend the wines. And the flow was quite simple. Hardly took them like about a few hours to build. It would just ask you like what kind of wine do you like, red wine, white wine, what do you want to eat it with, do you like this, that, etc. So 3 or 4 questions which you just click on buttons, and the bot would recommend the right product for you in a carousel. And these cards would take you to their e-commerce site, or would just point you to the location in their physical store. And doing this just resulted in a lot more revenue for them, because you brought a conversational angle, so people loved that. and B, you were able to influence that into sales. And obviously, thirdly, you were able to attribute it with the bot, right? Because they used UTM parameters, and on the physical place, they had like feedback collection mechanisms, which would collect the feedback on, where did you get this recommendation, etc. So in their case, they just onboarded like 3 enterprise clients, and this was quite successful, really a big successful campaign for that company that I just told you about. And everyone was a winner. For the agency, they got a new stream of revenue, as well as for the end customer, who was that alcohol beverage company, they got a lot more revenue for that specific campaign that they ran during that time. From all this, they were able to pitch newer solutions for different campaigns, different festive seasons, and just ultimately, get more for what they were already, charging for these clients. Right?
So, Hardik, looking at these success stories, I can say one thing for sure that, I mean, it's safe to say that this white label solution is for everyone, whether you are individual or a mid-sized company, web agency, or even if you are targeting enterprises. Wouldn't you agree?
Absolutely. You just need to look at what kind of people or that you have in your contact. So it doesn't matter if you have your own company or not. You can start as a solopreneur, and depending on what kind of verticals your business is in, I'm sure you can capitalize on the chatbot boom and pitch such solutions creatively to your audiences.
Definitely.
And that's exactly what we want to tell you about in this slide. So WotNot primarily has two kinds of partnership models that we offer to our partners. First is the reseller, which is where most of our partners get started. And secondly is what we have is white label, which is what we covered in this webinar. So to tell you more about reseller, on this partnership, you don't need any investment at all. So when you say you want to become a reseller, it's more like being an affiliate, right? You're just buying the subscription from WotNot at a certain price, which in this case is a 20% discounted price from what you see on our website. And you add your own markup and sell it to your audience, whoever that may be. What we give you or offer you as a partner is we change the branding. So on the chat widget that we just saw in the previous slides, where we have powered by WotNot written, we change it with your company's name. So it says powered by Acme or whatever your name is. You only pay us whenever there's a paying customer at your end. Until then, we would give you a partner account which you could use, which has all the features that we offer to create demos, proof of concepts, and even test out a few clients out, right? Because you need to show them something, and that's where our partnership approach comes in. Right? We give you a partner account with all the features. We give you 20% commission for any new subscription that you bring on board, or you could just add your own margin, and we just bill you. You bill your clients at whatever price you need. So that's the reseller plan. Once you've had quite a success, like let's say you've onboarded 5 or 10 customers in this way, you now have that level of confidence, right? That you could sell to other contacts that you have in your diary. At this stage, you would like to commit to a white label. And like we talked about, what we do in a white label is create the clone of WotNot. So if you sign up to WotNot today, everything that you see the moment you sign up, everything will be white labeled with your company's name, with your domain. So www. whatever name you'd like to keep, your logo. You can build your own website. We'll give you the sign up and the login pages, which you can just plug it in. And people can ultimately create their own customer accounts. And we offer you unlimited. So truly, you can have as many as you want, and we don't charge you on a per account basis. Have 100 accounts, 10,000 accounts, a million accounts. That's totally fine. You'll be able to define your own price. Since it's your white label, everything is yours, right? You define your business strategy, you define how you want to sell, what price. So we sell it for $100 and above. You could sell it for $150, $75, could be anything. You could furthermore sell it as a product or sell it as a solution. So if you have good skills in SaaS, you could start running ads and create a funnel where people come to a landing page, fill out the form, and just buy the subscription plan. Or if you are an agency, you already have a lot of people in your sales team, you could do the sales-led approach where your sales team reaches out to these prospective customers, pitches them these solutions, gives them a free trial, and then you bring them on board. That way you have a lot more commitment, and you could charge them a lot more higher fee, right? Because you're managing that whole process of designing, building, and managing that chatbot for your customers. And then we also give you all the features. So when you white label WotNot, you don't get what we have given you during that white label, but all the new features that we roll out. Recently we launched a ChatGPT integration. So anything new that comes out, you don't need to pay anything extra. Everything would be included as part of that white label. And finally, we give you a lot of support. So this support is primarily given through a Slack channel. So we create a Slack channel, and I'm sure everyone uses Slack these days. So that way we are more available, and it's on demand whenever you need it. Just drop in a question on the channel, and someone from our product or pre-sales team help you out, and to help you figure out how you could sell, what kind of money you could charge, and either we could even be a part of these calls as part of your team if you'd like us to just show you how to get it done. So on the white label plan, it's obviously just a flat monthly fee. You pay us a flat monthly fee, and you get everything that is here on WotNot. So I'd highly recommend you to just visit this URL, fill out a form, and in case you're interested, someone from our team would definitely give you a walkthrough and tell you more about what we have to offer in both of these plans, and recommend which one would be the right fit for you. Yeah. Well, I believe that's pretty much what we have in store for everyone with this first webinar. I'm sure we'll have a lot more in the coming few weeks. So over to you, Shivani.
Yeah, so I've added the contact us link in the comment section. If you guys are interested in white label chatbots, you can visit the link. Let us know what your requirements are, and our team will get back to you. And if you have any other queries regarding what all we covered in today's webinar, feel free to put it in the comment section here, and Hardik will be replying to your questions.
Absolutely. All right, I think we have a first question here. How can we differentiate from talk to? I believe his question is, how do we differentiate from talk to, right? So ideally, I'd like to answer this in this way, that talk to is primarily a live chat platform. So you have someone on the back end who's replying back to texts when someone comes to your site. I think they are starting to build a chatbot function, but it's in its infancy. So how we primarily differ from them is that we have a lot more robust no-code chatbot builder using which you could build chatbots, and a lot more functionalities and elements through which you could make the whole conversation a lot more better. Yeah, so that's the answer to that. Hope that helps.
We have another question. This user is asking about the chatbot builder. Hardik, if you could answer this question. I'll also put the link to our feature page here in case you want to visit it.
Sure, absolutely. So the type of chatbot builder. So usually, there are two kinds of chatbots that you could build, right? First is obviously the rule-based chatbots where you have a predefined flow. People would click on buttons and go forward in that flow the way you have defined it. And secondly, is you have AI-based chatbot builders where you need to train the bot with a lot of data. Typically, a very good example for this is ChatGPT, right? It's so smart that you can ask it any question and it is smart enough to give you an answer. So I believe like AI bots would be a lot tougher for you to get started with, and that's where we would recommend like simple role-based bots, because honestly, from all the customers that we've been able to bring on board, which is quite literally in the thousands, almost 80% of all these cases are easily solvable using simple rule-based bots, and that's exactly what our platform does best. What I'd recommend you to do is just head over to our website, sign up, and you'll be able to see that builder live in action. And we do have a lot of videos that Shivani has created on our YouTube page, so you'll be able to refer to it to Buildbots.
And we've received a lot of reviews from our customers that our chatbot builder is one of the easiest to use, which is available out there. So you can sign up for free and try it for free as well. Build a chatbot and you'll be able to know the difference.
Cool. I guess so. There are a lot of new questions, so I'll just go one by one. The most asked question is, what is the monthly subscription charges? So to answer this, it's quite tough to give you an answer because it depends on what kind of features you need from our end. But do keep in mind that a white label of WotNot would charge you anywhere around like $1,000 a month and above. There's no setup cost, but you would be paying us $1,000 per month every month, and you get all the features, like I said, with unlimited accounts. So that's the answer to it. So okay, there's one more. Is this chatbot have API integration with other systems? Yes, absolutely. We have a lot of native integrations out there, but there are thousands of systems in the world, and we can't literally have integrations with all of them. So although we have native integrations with a few, we have integrations with Zapier through which you could access any other integrations that you need. And lastly, you could do direct HTTP requests to any system. So you can just use the API of that system and plug it into WotNot, and you would call that system and ask whatever answer you need. Next question is, can the ChatGPT integration use past messages that were sent by the human agent to generate custom knowledge bases? Absolutely. So our ChatGPT integration works in two ways. Either you just supply the URL of how you want to train the bot. So could be a website, like let's say whatnot.io. The moment you do that, the bot would automatically be trained with all the data that's on the site. So all the pages, all the content, will scan and give you an answer. That's number one. Number two is you can just upload a file. It could be a PDF file, it could be a text file, anything that has information there, just upload it and the bot would be automatically trained. And that's where your question will come into. You just download all the messages or conversations that your team has had and just supply to the ChatGPT API, and the API would be able to give you an answer. Next question is, how many users? So we don't have any limit, so you can have as many users, as many bots, as many customer accounts as you want. Literally as many as you need. Next is, can we get analytics data like the source of the lead captured in the WotNot bot? Yes, we do track the UTM sources, so you can see the UTM source, medium, campaign, and use that information for attribution. Next is this for WhatsApp bot only? No. WotNot currently supports 4 channels. So we have website, Facebook Messenger, WhatsApp, and SMS. So you can use the same chatbot or create different bots for any of these 4 channels. And we plan to add a lot more channels quite soon as well. There's a lot of questions. Who would be a BSP for WotNot? So WotNot ourselves, we are not a BSP, but we have integrations with the most leading ones out there, namely Meta. Meta has recently opened out its own cloud API, so you can use Meta's APIs itself. Or you could use 360 Dialog, which is one more prominent player in the market. We have Gupshup, we have Carix, and we have Uniphonic. These are a few names that we support. So we have one more. We have almost 200 plus customers, but we use other agency. I'm not sure what your question was, sir, but if your question is that you're already using a different chatbot white label, you could definitely switch over to WotNot, and we'd be happy to help you in migrating these chatbot flows. Although building chatbot flows on WotNot is quite simple, but we could try and work out, a process through which we could easily get on board all of your clients. And yeah, absolutely. You could reach out to us on the link that Shivani shared. So just go visit our website, fill out the contact us form, and someone would reach out to you in a few hours or latest by tomorrow. All right, I believe those were the questions we had. Oh, wow, there's a few more. Does you provide on-premises solution? Yes. So you could host the white label in any way that you prefer. So primarily we host the white label ourselves because we have a lot more subsidized rates with our cloud providers, namely GCP, AWS. So you could either we take care of all the hosting costs, or we could install it locally on your own servers, and you could bear that cost, whichever is ideal. Who's your competitor? I'm pretty sure you could just search white label chatbot on Google. You'll find tons of them. Uh, but I'd like to tell you what our USPs are. Primarily, we have a very significant time and effort that we spent in building this whole platform. And the only way to answer this is for you to truly try out the platform. You'll find we have most of the features that you would need, and it's a lot more high quality when you compare it with other players that are out there. Secondly, is the pricing model. We just charge a flat monthly fee for our white label partners. You get everything, so there's no separation of you get this feature, you don't get this feature, you get everything. And lastly is our support. So we are quite literally available for all our partners whenever needed, and we do try and visit our partners to train them in person if that's something that's needed. Are you into DIY or managed services? We are into both, I'd say. Primarily, we are getting most of our business through the DIY source. So people are just signing up, buying a subscription plan, and building it on their own. But we also do have significant revenue being sourced through managed services, where our team would design, build, and manage the bots for our clients. Yeah, we do a bit of both. Great. I believe these are the questions we had, Shivani. And
We have another one, Hardik, if you could answer that. How support would be provided to their clients?
all right. So support generally is the responsibility of our white label partner. So if you buy the white label from us, it's your sole responsibility of giving support to your customers. But like I said, we would have a shared Slack channel. So at any point of time, if you have a question, you could just throw that question in on the channel and we give you an answer. Not just that, but we would also give you our help articles. So you could copy our help articles and use it within your own portal. So it's just a 1 hour job. So we have tons of help articles and repositories on our help page. We'll create a copy of it under your domain, like help.acme.com, and you could use these URLs within the platform. Yeah, I understand you're not a technical person, but most of our help articles are quite self-explanatory. So you just use them, and if there's something that is beyond you, you could always forward that to us, and our team will answer that. Right. Are there any more?
Um, yeah, support in terms of payment gateway or other integrations. I think we provide the support for integrations, right, Hardik? And the client will need to.
Yes, absolutely. We offer both. So we primarily connect with the Stripe. So Stripe is the payment gateway we use. So you could just create your own Stripe account and we just plug it in. So you create your own plans, and any money that comes in directly goes to your bank account. And regarding integrations, yeah, like we said, we have a lot of integrations out there. You could visit it on our website, whatnot.io/integrations.
So we don't have any more questions, Hardik, if you have anything else to share.
Yeah, I think that's about it. I have a lot more things, but probably we'll take it up in our upcoming webinar. So to everyone tuned in, do keep
All
an eye
right.
out, and we'll be happy to educate you more.
I'll just share the link to our contact us page in case you want to know more or share your requirements, or if you are interested in white label solution, you can visit the link and we will get back to you. All right, so that was all for today's webinar. Hope you found this insightful, and you can always reach out to us and we'll be happy to answer your queries. And we will be doing more such webinars in future regarding white label or chatbots in general. So make sure you follow WotNot on all our social handles. And if you want to watch tutorials and DIY stuff, you can visit our YouTube channel. Let me just share a link to our playlist as well. You'll get the idea of how to build a chatbot in few minutes. And yeah, that was all for today. Thank you so much for joining. Thank you so much, Hardik.
Thank you all. Have a great day.